never told me they could do that.
I didn't know they could do that.
Okay.
Welcome, peasants, lords, and large bat creatures not being fought by Bruce Wayne, to the 157th episode of an Unearthly Podcast, streaming live on the 25th of May, 2016, and featuring State of Decay, written by Terrence Dix, and starring Tom Baker, Lala Ward, Matthew Waterhouse, and the voice of John Leeson. I am Bill Sylvia, the Man in Black, and with me are Mad Matt Winchell,
Bring out your dead.
Randy Ronson McCulloch,
I never drink wine.
Aaron Moon Burke,
Man, that Notch is a dick.
and currently not including Tim the Enchanter Sheridan, who has other obligations for today, but he has provided us with his thoughts on the episode, which we will provide at the appropriate moments.
But first, the news. We've got some birthdays.
I love how your priority was the day of the week and not the number of years.
Actually, that has to be for my notes. Okay, So our first birthdays are posthumous. The first is the man in the bath chair, the original Davros from Genesis of the Daleks, Michael Wisher, whose birthday is on Thursday, the 19th of May. He's turning, and this is because I can actually do most of this math in my head, Bill. 65, 75. 76, I believe, would have been his birthday, except he died in 1995 on July 21st. Still, happy birthday, Michael Wisher.
Looks like he would have been 81.
81? Sorry, I went off by 5 years because I'm trying to do this in a hurry. Normally, I get this done ahead of time, but we've all been kind of hit by time constraints, which is why we're doing this 40 minutes late.
Meh.
Yar.
Our next birthday is John Lucarati, who was the writer of most of the early historical episodes of Doctor Who during the first Doctor era. The Aztecs, Massacre on St. Bartholomew's Eve, to name a couple. His birthday was on Friday, May 20th. And if Michael Wisher was 81, he would have been 90. Except he died a year before that in 1994, 11/20th, 1994. So still, happy birthday, John. That does it for the posthumous birthdays. So let's move on to the regular birthdays. Don Warrington, who was born on Monday, May 23rd. He wrote Rise of the Cybermen. He's also...
He didn't write it.
He didn't write it.
He played the president.
The ill-fated president in Rise of the Cybermen, and Big Finish's Rassilon. And he was born... Or he was born in 1951, which makes him 65, I believe.
Still a better Rassilon than Hellbent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really weak Rassilon. I haven't heard his Big Finish Rassilon, but I should at some point. Jim Broadbent also had a birthday on Tuesday. Jim Broadbent is known for playing the Doctor who's a bit nervous around girls in The Curse of Fatal Death. He's also been a huge Doctor Who fan for years prior to that and made several amateur comedy videos that were Doctor Who related.
By the way, about Warrington, you've frequently quoted an episode that he appeared as Rassilon in, so I'm not sure if you just forgot or if. But
what was that?
He was
Zagreus?
He was heavily in Zagreus, yeah.
Yeah, he only had a few lines though, and honestly, I didn't like his.
I think he had a
Rassilon.
bit more than that. He was kind of the main villain of the. Not to spoil anything, but he was one of the main villains of that episode.
Anyway, Jim Broadbent turned 67 on Tuesday. Happy birthday, Jim. And then finally, well-known actor Ian McKellen, who, of course, is known in Doctor Who as the original voice of the Great Intelligence before taking on the form and voice of Richard E. Grant, and better known to the rest of the world as either Gandalf or the original Magneto, as well as a few other things.
I still haven't seen the new Magneto. It seems weird to me that if I walk into the theater right now, somebody else will be playing Magneto.
I can buy the Magneto because they go for young Magneto.
Mhm.
That's the Professor Xavier I have issues
I like
with.
the young Professor Xavier.
Yeah, I can't see where you'd go from A to. I still can't see how you get from A to B.
Well, they're about
it's
to
even-
do that actually in the new movie, but I was
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, good. I'll be watching that on Tuesday. I can talk about it next week.
Have you not seen the trailers?
I've watched the trailers, but I need to actually see the whole thing, Matt.
I haven't
Okay.
watched. I think I've maybe watched one of the trailers.
It looks the part with the shaved head.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the shaved head, it's personality. It's the personality I have issues with. The head shaving is purely coincidental to me.
I never thought that William Shatner would regenerate into Patrick Stewart, and that worked out fine. So
Anyway,
I
Ian
can feel
McKellen
already,
was
Chris.
born on Wednesday, or actually today, for the remaining hour or so that we have, May 25th. Again, that's and you guys are really throwing me off my game.
I'll sure blame us.
77, I think.
You know, there is a calculator on the computer.
Yes, I know, but I'm trying to do this without running many apps. And so, happy birthday, Ian.
I'm just gonna double check that because I thought he was actually older than that, but it might just be me being wrong again.
Yeah, I Christopher Lee is in his 90s. Where did you
Christopher
get?
Lee is dead.
Oh yeah, and it does come up 77. So if TARDIS data core is right, then he's younger than I thought. But I thought he was in his 80s.
Yeah,
Unless
no,
of course it's a typo, which is also a possibility because
Remember, Christopher Lee
I've
was 10 years older
nope,
than
19.
Ian McKellen.
yeah,
At least.
actually a little more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just comparing them because they were contemporary actors when they were doing Dracula. But no, yeah, that age is correct for Ian McKellen according to
wow.
Wikipedia.
I would have sworn he was in his 80s, but I guess not.
Not quite.
No,
He just
not
has one
quite
of those
there.
faces that looks slightly older than he is.
Yeah.
Right.
Ian McDermott is younger than he looks, too. The guy who plays Emperor Palpatine in the Star Wars movies. They picked him-
He was much younger than he looked in 1983.
Yep.
That's called makeup and prosthetics.
Yeah.
Now you could play it before. That's what he was hired for, actually. That's what Lucas hired him for.
Anyway, happy birthday, Ian. That does it for our birthdays.
Alright, now for the dead people. Looks like we've lost Alex Wheel, senior camera operator, from season 17 through season 25.
That would have been Destiny of the Daleks through, I believe, Greatest Show in the Galaxy. So for mid to late
That
Fourth
sounds
Doctor,
right, yeah.
all the way through the Seventh Doctor.
Mm-hmm. Alright, and then...
Go on.
So that's a good chunk of Doctor Who
Mm-hmm.
right
Mhm.
there that he was behind the lens on. I don't know if Matt ever found a picture of him because there's probably more of him behind the camera than there is of him in front of one.
There's a couple of pictures and stuff.
Uh-huh. There's a link with a picture of him circled. All right, and our other loss is Bert Kwok. Lin Futo in Four to Doomsday, Dr. Hayashi in Big Finish's Luke Garou. So.
Been a couple things then.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, not the biggest names, but still always an unfortunate loss. Did they ever say what either of them died of?
Well, let me see here.
I know sometimes we have to search for third-party obituaries to actually find that. So I'm not sure if they would have included it there.
I was just curious if they were in the cancer check.
No, I don't see anything under here for Alex Wheel.
I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything in Bert Kwok.
Yeah.
Both of their articles are still loading as blank screens on my page right now.
So we don't know. They might.
So I might as well move on to the.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to news for Class. We have a new casting announcement. Anna Schaffer, possibly Schaefer, best known for her roles in Hollyoaks and in the final three Harry Potter movies, where she played Romilda Vane, has been cast as a character named Rachel. Although as of now, there have not really been details released about this Rachel.
Okie doke.
That's pretty much all the news there is to it, because they're still not giving us a whole lot of information about Class yet.
Yeah, I would really like information like starting date, but BBC never gives any that early.
Nope, not until almost a month off.
So we have a roundup on competitions that are currently going on. Looks like 1, 2, 3. 3 and a minor note on a fourth competition that we have. The first one is for the Fourth Doctor Adventure Gallery of Ghouls from Big Finish. This is a worldwide contest. You can win a digital download of the audio adventure courtesy of Big Finish if you answer the following question. The Doctor, Romana, and K9 have spent time on Brighton Beach before, or rather, as is typical with time travel, they will do so later. Name that story. You can give that answer, and I will hint you that it is the Doctor and Lala Ward relatively early on in their travels. I will not name the episode or anything, but you can send your answer with your name, email address that you have registered with Big Finish, plus where you heard about the competition, i.e. an Unearthly Podcast, to comp-bf4d@doctorwhonews.net with the subject Deja Vu. The competition, like I said, is open worldwide and closing the 12th of June. As a note, you must have an active registration with Big Finish in order to be eligible to receive the prize. New registrations can easily be created on the website for free and with no financial obligation. The next is for the Doctor Who audio of The King's Demons. This is a reading of the novelization of the Third Doctor episode. This is also worldwide, closing June 12th. And you have a chance to win the audio book courtesy of BBC Audio. Simply answer the following question. This isn't the first time the Doctor has encountered the Plantagenet family. Which incarnation met John's rather more fondly remembered brother, Richard? And actually, I have no clue on this. So please send your answers with your name, address, and where you heard about the competition on Unearthly Podcast to comp-demons@doctorwhonews.net with the subject, We Sing in Praise of Total War. The competition is open, like I said, worldwide, 12th of June. Third is the BBC audio novel adaptation Shakedown, which is currently released as part of the New Adventures range in '95. This is another worldwide competition, also closing the 12th of June. To win it from BBC Audio, simply answer the following question. The novel Shakedown is based upon the script Terrence Dicks originally wrote for the direct-to-video release Shakedown: Return of the Sontarans in '94. Name one of the main cast from that release who also has a strong connection to Doctor Who on television. You'll have to take a guess here, folks.
I'm going to guess it's probably the guy that showed up in pretty much every form of Doctor Who spin-off, but that may not be true.
I
wouldn't know about that. Please send your answers with your name, address, and where you heard about the competition on Unearthly Podcast to cop-shakedown at DoctorWhoNews.net with the subject Moth to the Flame. Again, this is open worldwide. Again, to the 12th of June. Only one entry per household will be accepted.
I like how BBC Audio and Big Finish are both adapting VNAs. I'm kind of wondering if there's going to be any overlap or if they're just trying to see like how long it takes to get them all out.
I think it might be, they might actually sit down and go, you take this one, we'll take this one, you take this one, you know.
It's possible because I know Big Finish is kind of, you know, they're kind of shortening them and making them into proper audio dramas, whereas BBC Audio is probably just doing them as regular audiobooks.
Again, what novelizations has Big Finish been doing?
The first one that comes to the top of my head is the one with the Seventh Doctor and Sherlock Holmes. I think there was one with Bernice and Ace done not that long ago. I'm not remembering the titles.
The Bernice Summerfield is a weird, wonky kind of thing. Because when BBC Audio, or when BBC Novels, BBC Books, got the rights to Doctor Who from Virgin Books, they did not get the rights to certain characters, and Bernice Summerfield was one of them.
That's why Big Finish was able to get their start with Bernice before they were able to talk BBC into giving them the rights to Doctor Who.
Yes, indeed.
Bernice.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been doing like I think 3 a year or something like that. So I'm not remembering the titles right now though.
And the final bit of competition news, it is still possible to win the Michelle Gomez Missy figures. That competition is still open until the 31st of May. One entry per household accepted. As a reminder, you need to send your answers along with the name country where you heard about the competition to comp-missy at DoctorWhoNews.net with the subject selecting the version you'd like to win, Missy in purple, Missy in black. First out of the hat will receive the one they requested. Runner-up will receive the other figure. The question is, Missy was introduced to the world as the new incarnation of the Master in Dark Water, but which character name was used during filming to try to ensure the revelation remained a secret until broadcast? Good luck with that. Okay, that does it for the competition wrap-up.
All right. So now we've got some independent commentaries for Doctor Who episodes, specifically a few of the Hartnell Orphan episodes and the Daemons. So basically, Day of Armageddon is going to be read over by Peter Purves for this release as David Graham, Donald Tosh, Clive Doig, and Brian Hodgson. And they're going to be talking about the 3 remaining episodes of the Daleks Master Plan, Galaxy 4 Airlock, and the Celestial Toymaker, The Final Test. So that sounds pretty cool. And there's also going to be a bonus interview with Jeremy Young, He will also be talking about probably his prequel to the Daleks' Master Plan Mission to the Unknown. So,
might as well get these people while they're still alive.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, that's going to be on the day of Armageddon. And then for the Daemons, it's going to be the new commentary track for the Daemons. It's going to feature Katie Manning, John Levine, Alec Linstead, David Simeon, and John Owens, as well as script editor Terrence Dix and the director's assistant Sue Upton. So now I wonder, these are actually going to be on the DVDs, or are they going to be separate?
They'll be separate. They're intended to be listened to while you play the official release, kind of like what I believe Riff Tracks has been doing.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, except this is more a creator commentary, just done kind of unofficially.
Yeah, I guess these are actually releases of Who Talk from Phantom Publishing. So. Mm-hmm. And that's, obviously, I guess that's what they meant by independent commentary. So that's kind of an interesting idea.
Get more bang for your buck for
know,
movies that you would otherwise miss out on.
Yeah, especially if they put out a DVD and they don't have time to snag an interview or get a commentary from someone, they can just put that out there.
Well, I have to wonder why some of those people weren't asked to be on the commentary for those DVDs, because there can't be a lot of the original production staff still alive, especially for, Dalek Master Plan.
Well, I think for some episodes, the BBC just never did official commentaries.
That's absolutely stupid. Well, for Mission to the for Dalek Master Plan, I can see it because there's no official DVD release, because most of the episodes are missing.
Actually, a lot of those for Day of Armageddon I can understand, because a lot of those episodes are missing from all those stories. The Daemons, however, there's no excuse.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a Third Doctor that should be out on DVD if it's not...
I'm pretty sure it is out on DVD, and why they didn't get these people to begin with is beyond me. Especially Terrence. I think Terrence would have been there pronto. But,
Just doing a shopping trek for the Daemons, it is definitely out there on DVD, both domestically and in the UK. It's not one we have on our schedule, but we'll eventually get to it
one of these
someday.
Days.
Audio commentary by Katie Manning, Richard Franklin, Maris Heyman, and director Christopher Barry. So they decided to go with the director, not the writer. But yeah, Katie Manning is in the official one too for the Daemons. So double duty.
She'll show up for a sandwich.
Probably.
This was Katie Manning, you said, right?
Yeah, Katie Manning is in both the official and the unofficial commentary track for the Daemons.
Yeah, I think she's living the eccentric old lady just 2 steps short of Iris Wildtime life, where if you call her to do something, she'll pretty much show up.
Well, it's nice when you're able to do that. I mean, there's a few American actors that do that, like Bill Murray. Bill Murray will randomly show up places in 10 Bar. He never does the same thing twice, though. Anyway, was there anything else, Aaron?
Nope.
All right.
Which moves us on to Big Finish news. Now, the only out now news we have is one that, if you were paying attention last week, is not news, so I'll be very quick on this, and that is that I believe this was yesterday, Gallifrey Enemy Lines was released. I've heard some good feedback on it so far, but there's really nothing new to say about that other than what there was last weekend, the last time we covered it. In terms of coming soon, Dracula, starring Mark Gatiss, speaking of vampire episodes, is coming out on Thursday. So I'm not sure, considering Big Finish being Britain-based, it might be available for download now. Otherwise, it will be within the next 12 hours or so.
And this, by the way, has nothing to do with Doctor Who other than Mark Gatiss being in it.
And being on Big Finish.
Yep. This is part of Big Finish's horror line, which includes The Confessions of Dorian Gray, Frankenstein, Phantom of the Opera, and I believe they're planning a few more.
Right.
Really?
Yes, this is not a Doctor Who episode, but it does feature Mark Gatiss, so I figured it's worth mentioning.
Dorian Gray. Not
and he doesn't want to talk about Dracula.
In 2014, they did the adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the Modern Prometheus, starring Arthur Darvill. Is it bad that my brain first went to Rip Hunter does Frankenstein? That was a bad time trip.
Just a jump to the left.
Damn it, I was trying not to interrupt the timeline, and I ended up being Frankenstein.
Well, shit.
Would that make Mick Rory the monster? But this is released 119 years to the day of the original novel. I guess they didn't want to wait an extra year to make it around 120.
No, they needed something to release this year.
At least it's the anniversary either way.
Continuing with our coming soon, I believe this was previously announced, but I guess there's some more information on Unit Silenced, which is coming November of 2016, featuring the modern unit crew and the silent priests from the 11th Doctor era.
I thought they turned out to be good guys.
I guess, well, maybe this is part of the splinter group that was helping Madame Kevorkian. They were. It was really vague on that because Moffat wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moffat wrote originally, so continuity all over the place.
This will feature Gemma Redgrave as Kate Stewart, Ingrid Oliver as Osgood, James Joyce as Unit Captain Josh Carter, Warren Brown as Lieutenant Sam Bishop, and Ramon Tikaram as Colonel Shindy, all of which I believe have appeared in the previous unit discs, some of them on screen, some of them not. And you can want to get
at least a few.
Anybody who hasn't read it want to guess who's voicing the monster?
Oh, we can guess who's voicing the monster.
Another role for Nick Briggs, because he obviously hasn't played enough roles.
Hey, Nick, we've got a monster in here. Okay, I'll pull out another voice. Let me find a new channel on my modulator.
I want another voice.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did the voice in Day of the Moon, Impossible Astronaut, but I might be wrong.
He might have, because he does anything else that's essentially post voices anyways. So. Yeah. And
one other cast member I haven't mentioned is journalist Jackie McGee, played by Tracy Wiles. This is I'm not sure if she was in the previous ones or not. The name is familiar, so probably.
Maybe.
Oh yes, it does. It does say she was involved with the Nestine incident, which was the first unit box set with this cast. So yeah.
By the way, no, the silence was voiced by Marnix Vanderbroek in Day of the Moon.
So at least the original voices weren't him.
Yeah, so not Nick.
The original voices were not Nick. I'm not sure about after that, though.
And the big news, or at least depending on, considering the hints John Barrowman's been dropping, there may be bigger news coming. But the big news for now is Torchwood Outbreak, coming November of 2016. And this will be the first Torchwood audio to feature 3 main cast members, which would be all three of the cast members that were surviving as of season 3, which is Gareth David Lloyd as Ianto Jones, Eve Miles as Gwen Cooper, and of course John Barrowman as Captain Jack Harkness. First they know you, then you love, then you kill. A medical trial's gone terribly wrong, and one of the test subjects is loose on the streets of Cardiff. Within hours, the virus is raging out of control and the bodies start piling up. The government scrambles to control the outbreak, but isn't too keen on anyone finding out the dark history of the virus. Captain Jack Harkness has encountered the infection before and knows that something alien is hiding inside it. With the city sealed off and murderous mobs raging through the streets, Torchwood has to save something even more important than the human race. So is this a zombie story?
It sounds
like it.
That's
what it sounds like.
Sorta. It's essentially a zombie plague started by a
So I guess it's
alien
Torchwood versus pick your favorite zombie franchise.
Well, I wouldn't say Walking Dead because apparently this is just an outbreak rather than pandemic yet.
My first thought is 21 Days Later, but I haven't watched that movie to be 100% sure.
They're trying to stop it before it becomes a global pandemic.
Oh, and it does look like that Kai Owen as Reese Williams and Tom Price as PC Andy Davidson will be appearing. So this is, if not full cast, very close to it, but I'm guessing full cast if there's 5 cast members.
Looks like they're basically ignoring Miracle Day and the new guy from Miracle Day.
That or it's set in before Miracle Day, because there was I think a story gap where they had sort of retired in between Children of Earth and Miracle Day. And this would have to be set before Children of Earth.
Yard continuity of things that we don't care about.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how they're doing that, because the one with Gwen and Reese gave the implication that it was set post Children of Earth. So I'm really not sure how the timeline with the Torchwood Audios is working, and I don't have the budget to check all of them.
They're kind of bouncing around from what I've understood.
That's what it seems to be. And that wraps up our Big Finish news for the week.
Okay. So in basic chit-chat here, it has been the finale week on television this week. Last week ended Legends of Tomorrow.
Yep.
I don't know who here has seen it.
I've seen everything. I've seen Arrow. I have seen Flash. I have seen Supernatural finale.
Don't spoil tonight's Arrow if you've seen it, please.
I have not seen it myself, so I took a nap prior to the podcast just because I knew it was going to run late somehow.
Everybody dies. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. But not really, no.
Actually, though, the finale of Arrow doesn't make a lick of difference after the finale of Flash.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an afternote at this point. So, Gotham's finale was kind of interesting. I don't know.
I'm like 2 months behind in Gotham, and I need to watch the season when it shows up on Netflix or something. I got to the point where I was so far behind, I just stopped trying to keep up because it wasn't on demand anymore. Like the episodes I needed to see.
Basically, what I can tell you is we've just watched the origin of a lot of Batman's more out there villains, which kind of interesting, as well as a few more. Of course,
when I think out there villains, my first thought is Killer Croc.
I believe that would be one. Yes,
he's there.
I don't know if we actually see him by face.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
We see his face, and we do see that he has scales and the slit eyes of a crocodile.
It would be a nice twist if Gotham turned out to be a prequel to Suicide Squad, and that they were actually in the same continuity, separate from the Justice League continuity.
Oh.
But probably not going to happen.
Probably
cool,
not. That was interesting. A lot of the rest of it kind of added on a pause. I liked Gotham's finale last year better because, of course, it ended with young Bruce and Alfred discovering what would eventually become the Batcave. And this one didn't end on a decent cliffhanger like that. Legends of Tomorrow had a wonderful cliffhanger, and this is spoiler territory for anybody who hasn't seen it. Is of course that they brought in a new character at the end of it.
I think he said you need to change up the cast next season.
And he mentioned the Justice Society of America, which is a big DC thing. So the GSA is now going to be canonical within the CW verse.
Speaking of this, the Justice Society or wait, is that what he mentioned?
Justice Society.
Because I just kind of assumed I must not have listened to what was coming out of his mouth, and my schema just kind of replaced it because I would have sworn he was talking about the Legion.
No, he did not mention the Legion
just
of
because
Superheroes.
it was. I think just because it was time travel, I assumed he was talking about the Legion.
Nope, he said the Justice Society of America, the GSA.
I mean JSA.
Or yes, the JSA. Sorry.
Okay.
I was gonna say, wait, did you say G or J? Because it's a difference.
Speaking of that shared universe, I don't think we mentioned it yet, but CW has been very quick to snatch this and put it on its trailers now that it's official. But season 2 of Supergirl will be on the CW.
Yes, and that is, by the way, any rumors you've heard that that CBS canceled it and CW picked it up are false. That was a mutual deal between CBS and CW.
Yeah.
They officially handed it over.
Technically, yes, that was the case in terms of like the most jargonistic gobbledygook you want to bring up, but in terms of it actually functioning. Well, I mean, in terms of it was canceled in terms of it's no longer a CBS show, and therefore, in technical bullshit terms, it was canceled. But in actual reality, in anything that actually matters, it was handed over.
It was handed over because CBS has said that no, if they hadn't made the deal with the CW to pass it over, they would have renewed it anyway.
Yeah.
I just hope that the budget is shifted a little bit more. Because I noticed that even though it had a higher budget on CBS, as Rand pointed out, they were filming in LA, so a lot of that budget was taken up by location filming. I'm hoping that the move to Vancouver will allow them to free up some more money to put into their costume.
I've noticed that most of the Supergirl clips that I've seen have this thing, the sun in it, and which would require location shooting and probably be very expensive, especially in LA. So I imagine if they move to more sets and less of that strange ball of light in the sky, then it'd probably be cheaper.
Yeah.
So, and again, I'm getting into spoiler territory here. Flash was last night, and this is the big one. And Flash ended the last 5 minutes with Barry Allen going back in time and saving his mother's life. Do I need to tell you guys what this indicates?
You don't need to tell me.
New
I already
52
know.
On the CW next season. Oh,
smack.
It means that we're heading into Flashpoint Paradox, something we thought they were toying with in season 1, but kind of broke it before it happened. Now they've actually gone and done it. Now, the other spoiler is that over the course of the season, on all 3 shows, we have had 3 characters that were kind of important die.
At least one of them is contracted to show up in, I think, a multi-show crossover next season, from what I hear.
Possibly more. Now, the 3 characters are Captain Cold, Leonard Snart, who is very, very, very popular. Laurel Lance, a.k.a. Black Canary, and Henry Allen, Barry's father.
Tombstone. Oh, God. They finally did the full name, and it had to be on the fucking tombstone. I was just sitting there like, that's the culmination of the arc, adding the Dinah to her name.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that had been known for a while, that it was Dinah Laurel Lance. But she went by Laurel because she was not
had they actually said it in the show before?
Yes, they had.
Okay, because I know, like, in some continuities, like, Dinah's middle name had been Laurel, but I wasn't sure if that was confirmed in the CW continuity.
It was, but it was mentioned she did it because it was also her mother's name, and she was kind of had issues with her mother.
She did it because they wanted to string the viewers along for a few extra seasons before we figured out which one was the Black Canary.
Yep, that too. But anyway... So the possibility that all these deaths could be reversed by Flashpoint Paradox. It also is possible that they're going to use Flashpoint Paradox as a way to bring in the Supergirl universe into the CW verse.
By the way, since we've gone to spoiling the Flash finale, do we want to talk about the other big moment that Matt was asking earlier?
Well, it's pretty much all over the internet now. You can't go on Facebook without seeing this. And that is the fact
as soon as the episode finished, I got an email from trying to spoil me on the episode. I'm like, no, I am not reading this email subject line.
And that is the fact that we finally revealed who the man in the mask is that we've been seeing in Zoom's lair all season. And it turned out to be the real Jay Garrick, as played by John...
From a third Earth.
From Earth 3, as played by John Wesley Shipp. So, John Wesley Shipp, a.k.a. The Flash from the 90s TV show, gets to be The Flash again, only this time he's Jay Garrick.
The same actor that's been Barry's father up until the episode before that.
Yeah, where he died.
Same episode. Yeah. And this is him from Earth 3.
Yes, and he looked really good in the outfit. People were just like, wow, he actually looks like Jay Garrick from the comic books. And I have to admit, I was squeeing in my seat when I was watching that.
What was the actor's name again?
John Wesley Shipp. And that's a hyphenated name, Wesley-Shipp. And Shipp has 2 P's.
Sadly, I can't find him in the Jay Garrett outfit right now. At least not on Google Image.
Yeah, it's all over Facebook.
And I have to do hunting there because I've only seen it once.
I've seen it like 3. I got like 3 different Facebook posts.
Here we go. Actually, I just found it.
Found it? Okay.
But I found him.
I was trying to search Flash finale Jay Garrick to see if that came up, but it's being slow for me.
No, I basically just put in John Wesley Shipp Jay Garrick, and there's second row came up with a picture of him holding the helmet.
Holding the helmet in full outfit, yeah.
Yeah, he looks pretty good in that.
And I think it's safe to assume that Jesse Quick and Kid Flash will both have next season at this point.
Well, it's kind of hard to tell.
They've been teasing them all season, and they just got the whole
except for the season though ended with Harrison Wells and Jesse Quick going back to Earth 2. So unless something happens that starts merging all of these universes together,
if nothing else, it'll be a 2-parter or something.
Yeah,
even if they're not regular characters.
It could just be Leighton.
I mean, we might see it with Wally West because he's the local boy, but to know if it's happening with Jesse Quick, that means that we're going to have to go back to seeing. We're going to have to go back to Earth 2.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think there'll probably be a two-parter in which either those two come to Earth 1 or Barry goes to Earth 2. Especially considering Cisco's power, it's not very difficult for that to happen anyway.
True. We're just going to have to see how it comes out, though.
Yep.
Or maybe they're running around as speedsters and we just don't know it.
Aaron's seen the end of Arrow. I have not. But like I said, with them going into Flashpoint, it's not like it makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that Damien Dark is locked in a submarine.
Either they beat the hell out of Damien Dark and kill him, or
they kill him, but his body's not found. Is that what you're gonna say?
Or whatever. Or Damien Dark is about ready to kill them. Either way, once the Flashpoint hits, everything changes.
Urge to hand out spoilers rising. Urge to post spoilers rising.
Shut up, Aaron.
This is why Rand always watches stuff before me.
Yes, it is. And unfortunately, I had to sleep a little because I knew we'd run late tonight. Otherwise, I would have watched it at 7.
Yeah, I'll be watching it tonight.
I can't because Aaron has the living room.
Yeah.
Unless the CW app is slow again.
Unfortunately, it is really hot today, and that means that that she's in air conditioning. I get the bedroom, which just has a box fan.
I'm sorry. We should get you a inflatable mattress.
We tried that.
That's right.
The cats destroyed it because Bucky's a little bastard.
You can't help it. He's just a little blobby.
That's not blobby. That's the problem. It's clawy.
You're a bastard, cat.
Anyway,
that's what happens when your cat is a brainwashed communist.
And I believe that really is what we can have for finales at this point. I know there's a lot of Game of Thrones stuff going on, but neither myself or Aaron has seen it.
Yeah, I actually just watched a season yesterday, but I'm still a few seasons behind.
You're probably ahead of me at this point.
Mid-season 3.
Yeah, I'm still in season 2, and I seem to not be able to go any further.
I still need to finish Walking Dead, and also get caught up with Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Of course, I need season 5 and 6 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's all on HBO Go, but it's not exactly like you have a lot of time to watch television.
The Arrow finale is not on the CW app yet, so if it doesn't get there by the time we finish the podcast, I will not be able to watch it tonight.
It probably will, because it usually kicks in somewhere around midnight here.
Sometimes it does, but one time I had to wait until Friday morning before it showed up.
Really?
So I think it's done by like an intern somewhere.
Because I know
like to have an intern off.
I know there was a day that I sat down on Thursday morning after the podcast and watched it on Hulu. So
I mean, it varies because one time on Thursday night I was able to watch. I was able to sit down on Thursday an hour after Legends of Tomorrow had aired and watch both Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow. But other times, nothing at all throughout Thursday. So it varies.
Okay, so why don't we, since we got really nothing else that we can say about that, why don't we move on to our 5-minute challenge?
So here's the question.
Do we trust the 5-minute challenge with the issues we've been having every time someone tries to give a summary?
Exactly.
I thought I did okay last week.
If you or Aaron are volunteering.
What?
Because last time I checked, you guys were still having issues with me, so...
I think Aaron likes some plot points of the episode.
I don't know if you want me going over the plot of this episode. It might get into the NC-17 range. Also, what would happen if Adric actually said yes to becoming a vampire and followed through with it?
It wouldn't have mattered. The doctor stopped it anyway.
He would.
Yeah, what if he stopped the doctor, though?
No, he wouldn't have.
No.
Then he would have been only a 2-episode character, and we would have met somebody in Warrior's Gate for the Doctor to take with him.
That would have actually been kind of interesting, because the only characters in Warrior's Gate, other than the nasty crew, who were all bad guys, was the blue-furred lion dudes. That would have been.
It would be nice for a companion like that.
Yeah. Of course, the amount of time that they would spend in makeup just to do filming.
That's something. If I ever became a millionaire, I'd walk up to the BBC, but I'd be like, "Listen, here's a donation, but this donation is specifically for the next Doctor Who companion's wardrobe department, so that they can stop being boring."
Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about how much time in makeup characters like Worf and Quark did on Star Trek.
Yeah.
I think they had to spend a good chunk of their morning.
Significantly more than Leonard Nimoy.
Yep. So there are people that do that, and they were show regulars. So
I'm trying to think if there's been anything like that on Doctor Who. I mean, Vastra would be the equivalent if she appeared more often, and in one season she kind of did. I'm not sure if anybody else in massive makeup appeared more than 2 or 3 times a season in Doctor Who.
Not that I can remember. I don't remember there's ever being a series regular like that.
I'm just having mental flashes now of some of the most bizarre possibilities for companions on the TARDIS. Don't mind him, he's a sea devil.
I really want to see them do the Sea Devils.
Yeah.
In Who?
Yeah, especially with like animated heads and everything.
If actual animatronic heads
be, like,
are really
creepy.
good makeup, yeah.
Yeah, those would be so creepy. Like, they scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. And they're actually a lot taller than you expect them to be, too. Like, they're like 7-foot tall monsters.
At times, yes. Anyway, we still haven't decided who's actually going to do this.
Not it.
Yeah.
Have I been fine the rest of the stream so far, or
You have been, but well, I haven't heard you have an issue.
No,
but
I haven't.
You haven't had a long rant.
And my throat is still killing me, so I'm still kind of.
Oh, that's true. Aaron does have the throat bug. We're not sure if it's strep or what, but
hope it doesn't pass over the internet. Anyway.
Last I heard, physical colds were not internet transmittable yet.
And that's what they said about...
That was a big Finnish episode.
That's what they said about hockey here, but...
Cough it, Matt. Aaron, cough it, Matt.
I farted a little. You're not gonna want the couch here, hun. I'm sorry. That KFC is just, yeah, so good.
God, I wish there was a KFC anywhere near here.
KFC farts. I'm just trying to keep it classy.
Classy. Anyway, all right. So, go ahead and bring up the stop, unless you wanted to do it, Matt.
I've got the stopwatch ready, so I guess I'll stopwatch you then.
All right. So give me a countdown.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Puttering around E-space, looking for a planet with habitation, the Doctor finally finds one on the far edge of E-space. The planet is interesting because it has metals indicating a high technological level, but power readings indicate that it's at a very primitive level. Materializing, the Doctor leaves K9 in the TARDIS, wanders around and finds what looks to be a typical medieval setting, big tower, village, etc. And inquiring, discovers that the villagers are very skittish. Apparently the lords have forbidden all forms of technology. They don't get strangers. Everything seems a little off. Upon leaving, one of the villagers goes up to a little nook in the wall, pulls out a very sophisticated-looking walkie-talkie style thing, messages somebody about the strangers. The Doctor and Romana are captured by what look to be kind of druidy people in the woods and are taken to the home base of the rebels, who are kind of technophiles and that they have a lot of technology lying around but don't know how to use any of it. Meanwhile, on the TARDIS, Adric, who had stowed away at the end of the last episode, tries to leave but is cornered by K9. Adric manages to out-logic K9 into letting him leave, where he soon finds the village and is quasi-adopted by the headman and his wife, who recently lost their son to the Lords when they came out and chose a bunch of villagers to serve as their servants. Notice that last word should be in quotation marks. The Doctor leaves the rebels after getting a piece of technology to work and discovers the fact that they are the descendants of a Earth ship that got trapped here. Interestingly enough, the captain, the pilot, the co-pilot, and one of the other senior technicians, I believe, all have the same paces as the King, the Queen, and the Chancellor, which the Doctor finds interesting. The Doctor is also very suspicious when somebody mentions the wasting, which is what the Lords are supposed to protect them from. He begins asking a lot of very pointed questions. And pretty soon, after leaving, he is captured and brought in front of the Lords, whom he is very suspicious of. Meanwhile, after encountering them, the Chancellor comes down and makes another roundup where he discovers Adric and seems to take a shine to the boy, taking him with him to be one of the chosen. The Doctor is pretty sure at this point that what he's dealing with is vampires. And once he is first imprisoned by the Lords after poking around and discovering the spaceship, but is let out by one of the rebels and runs back to the TARDIS, where he discovers the Record of Rassilon, a ancient tome, which is put in machine punch card for some reason, that tells him of the war between the Time Lords and the vampires and gives him the duties to stop it. Unfortunately, he needs a ship capable of firing a big bolt of steel into the heart of this huge creature. The Doctor eventually goes to the rebels and encourages them to attack the castle as he comes up with an idea of what he can do to stop them. Meanwhile, Romana tries to rescue Adric, gets captured herself, and they soon are about to be... Adric is about to become a new vampire. Romana is about to become a sacrifice. But before that can happen, the Doctor launches one of the towers into the heart of the great vampire, killing it, which causes the other vampires to die, and everybody lives happily ever after. The Doctor, Romana, and Adric take off in the TARDIS. Pretty much end of story.
All right. Your time, sir, is 4 minutes, 17 seconds.
Did it in under 5 and still made my wry commentary. Okay. So I need a dice roller. Come here, dice roller. I only have 3 today.
Well, actually, you should still roll 4 because we still have Tim's stuff to mention. Unless Bill automatically wants to talk about Tim's stuff after he does his own. Which we have sometimes
Could
done.
do either way. In general, I more or less was like, okay, Tim took what I wanted. I'll talk about something else. But...
Okay, so what you like overall? We'll start with Aaron. Actually, no. We'll start with Tim. Because that way we can't steal Tim's stuff.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I need to bring up my notes.
So Bill, what did Tim say he liked overall?
So Tim says what he liked was the Lords. They were without a doubt the best one-shot villains he has seen in Doctor Who. Their performances just over the top enough to be both fun and dangerous at the same time.
I don't know about that. I thought I agree they were over the top. I thought they were, though, way on the side of cheesy. All right, Aaron, you got
I'll give them that.
I don't... Comparing it to other vampire literature, nobody was eating flies, at least. So... I would say not too cheesy.
Oh, come on. Oh. Peter McNichol's bug eating in Dracula Dead and Loving It is great. But then again, I think Peter McNichol himself is funny as hell, so. Go ahead, Aaron.
Let me see here. I'm looking through my notes. I guess my overall like is Adric in this story.
You seem to be on an Adric kick.
It took you that long to figure that out?
Jesus.
We get to
well,
kind of
someone
see
had to
him.
like Adric in the story.
Yeah, someone had to like Adric. He seemed to kind of be on his own, you know, he's separate from the Dr. and Romana, and if you guys read the Wikipedia page for this entry, you'll know that this story was originally submitted for 1977 when Leela would have been the companion. The thing is that the BBC was coming out with an adaptation, a high-profile adaptation of Dracula, and they didn't want this Doctor Who story to compete with that adaptation. They didn't want people to get confused. So instead, they put out the, the Lighthouse one.
Horror of Fang Rock.
Yeah, the Horror of Fang Rock. They did that one instead. So this is actually a story that's been kind of shifted around for a little bit. Which is kind of explains why, you know, you've got the Doctor and Romana, and then you have Adric kind of wandering off. But I do kind of like it. He's still kind of a little douchey. He's, you know, helping himself to the stew and stuff. And he's like, oh, well, you know, while I'm staying, he wanders over to the cauldron and starts eating their food.
Which do you have any cheese?
Yeah, which is obviously kind of short supply as well, since the guards are apparently working these people to death, basically, and cutting their rations.
I think it's an ongoing gag that Adric has a huge appetite.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. We also get to see him kind of do a little bit more acting, have a little bit more of an acting range. You know, he's taken prisoner. He's, you know, got to try to fool the bad guys into thinking he's one of them. He's got to convince Romana that he's actually on her side. So.
I know, but that is a card he tends to play too often.
Yeah.
The whole I'm on your side and not letting everybody else know.
Yeah. Well, he's also supposed to be a kid. He's more book smart than he is street smart, obviously.
So was Nissa, and yet I like Nissa.
Yeah. Bill, you didn't like Adric?
Actually, considering you also just described Nissa and Zoe, and they're two of my favorite companions, and yet...
Yeah.
I've just watched Adric's origin stories, and I could not stand him in either of them.
Yeah, Adric can be a bit more abrasive, too. He's a little bit more aggressive. He's a little bit more arrogant.
Damn it, Tablet.
Mm-hmm. Huh?
Bill's tablet
My
started
tablet
yammering.
just randomly started making noise for no reason.
Coming in.
So,
What did you have
apps
on the
don't
tablet?
I had opened up the CW app just to see if the Arrow finale was on there, and then I paused it to make sure it didn't make any noise. And CW
Well-
likes to randomly start making noise.
That was your fault for leaving it open.
No, I then proceeded to put the tablet in sleep mode, and then
Yeah,
10
so-
minutes later, while it's paused in sleep mode, it starts making noise playing the video.
Don't you just love it when they do that? I also want to point out something
Not
else.
particularly.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to point out something else, and Rand disagrees with me on this, but I do feel that a bit of this episode is kind of homoerotic. Or just, you could also probably see it as just plain erotic, as them trying to shunt Adric around in different costumes, period costumes and stuff like that, and having him taken prisoner and fawned over and whatnot by the vampires, especially by the female vampire, calling him a handsome boy and everything. As them trying to play up kind of Adric's sexuality and trying to draw, like, maybe female viewers in is Rand's idea.
That I thought was part of it. Really, though, when I watched it, I really felt that such a handsome boy sounded more like what a mother would sound like to a child.
And I can see it from that point of view, too. Knowing both Matthew Waterhouse's and JNT's sexual orientations, as I struggle to come up with the wording here, I kind of almost feel as if maybe J&T may have had a thing for Matthew Waterhouse, although I have not seen any evidence that they actually had any relationship behind the scenes.
So what you're saying is if a gay man hires another gay man for a production, it's because he's interested in him.
Kind of. There's not necessarily across the board, though. I don't know. There's just something about this where, I don't know, it's like the camera kind of lingered on Waterhouse a lot. Again, that could just be trying to play up Adric as the character, trying to, get people interested in him and stuff. So I don't know.
Didn't really notice anything that was too out of the ordinary. Even
yeah,
for a
I think you're looking way too far into it, Aaron.
I think you might be projecting.
I think you are.
A bit. Just a wee bit.
Could be.
Maybe you hit the pause. Maybe you hit the pause button and you mistake it for the camera lingering.
Almost. Although he did not appear shirtless. I'm sad at that.
For those of you who don't get the reference, she was constantly demanding Bill have a shirtless Adric for the title card.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're looking too far into this, Aaron. Okay. So, who's next?
No one wants to go after me. I have broken the internet. Yay!
He's rolling the dice.
Oh.
Let's see. Bill, you're next.
Okay, so it was freaking Doctor Who versus vampires. Like that's enough to be a thing that I liked.
I guess. Could happen more often.
Doctor Who and vampires, and not vampire fish people in Venice.
Yeah. Like
And
legit
not enough
vampires.
about
So they could bring back
Although-
some
Coming
legit
next
vampires.
year
Come
to
to
the
think of
big
it-
screen, Doctor Who Vampire Hunter.
Come to think of it, if I have to choose between an episode with a lame episode with Rory and a lame episode with Adric, at this point, I'm probably going to lean toward the lame episode with Rory, but still, actual vampires and not vampire fish people. So
Yeah. It does
This
kind
still
of
has
over
that-
that a bit.
yep.
Need more giant vampires, damn it.
Okay, so Matt, what did you like overall?
I definitely like the production of this. Lots of really nice sets. We had a nice open indoor one for the village where you could actually see a little bit of the outdoors through the windows and the doors and stuff. The castle felt genuinely unique when you were in the interiors, and even more so when you delved deeper into any section of it. Like when you went up into the towers and you find out that it's actually a ship, or you delve into the underparts of the towers and suddenly find yourself in the basement where the giant vampire is resting beneath the tower. Just lots of really big sets that they actually had to put some time and budget into, and they actually all worked out for the most part as far as I could noticed.
Okay, so what I guess what I liked out of this was character chemistry. I believe at this point the Doctor, or Tom Baker and Lalla Ward were having issues, but I certainly really didn't feel like it watching them interact in the episode.
Yeah,
they would
true.
say, the Doctor would say something, Ramon would say something, he'd turn to his like, "That's very good," and it's like, just snogger already.
Yeah, there was definitely some flirting going on.
They were obviously still trying to keep things going, at least if nothing else for on screen.
Yeah, you watch episodes like this and you're like, yeah. I think half the reason the Doctor's so off-put about Adric is that means he can't shag Romana between episodes anymore. Because you watch those two and it's like there's definitely shagging going on there. Okay.
And then you get around to Mickey and it's the same thing again.
Crickets.
So, things you didn't like. And let's go to Tim.
All right, so Tim has Adric. He says it seemed like he was hardly in the story enough to justify his being there, and when he was in the story, he was annoying. Kind of agree with that.
All right. I really can't say much about that because yeah, he was being a bit dickish. Aaron.
Stuff that we didn't like?
Yeah.
Actually didn't like the giant vampire. I kind of felt like it should have been like more of an amorphous blob or an energy being or something more grandiose instead of this kind of goofy giant humanoid that's somehow housed underneath them. You know, or it could even just be something more, I don't know. I was gonna say more hypothetical, like yeah, it's an energy being, or maybe it's like a mushroom or a fungus that makes people think there's something.
For me, that would make it way too Star Trek.
Yeah.
They're not really vampires.
I've got to say,
an alien being that's turning them into something like vampires. But actually, according to the lore, when vampires get old, they get big. I mean, I've played enough Vampire the Masquerade. I know this.
I do have to say, just because I encountered Zagreus before this, the entire time I'm watching the episode, I'm picturing Colin Baker sleeping under the city as the Great Vampire. It's a little surreal.
Huh? Huh? What? Oh, damn it, Tom! My chest!
I will come back and try and kill your predecessor.
But yeah, that was mine. I thought that was just a little bit too cheesy and I wanted it to be more grandiose and not so. Because like before this, it had great atmosphere. It had a great like feel, kind of like a Hammer horror film kind of type deal that they were going for.
Well, you know? It still felt like a Hammer horror film. The big thing that annoyed me was when they did the X-ray on the mountain, and you could see this bat flapping around in there. It's like, that makes no sense.
That was a bit silly.
Like if they had an image of a still form of a man sleeping underneath the mountain.
Yeah.
Because if it's moving around like that, how the hell is he going to be able to stab it?
Yeah, it didn't make any sense to me, that part. But if they had had a giant reclining kind of man bat like thing, That would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Bill, you know what I mean by Man-Bat, right?
Yeah.
I assume so.
You know, like Batman, one of
Bill,
Batman's enemies.
Didn't Bill mention that in the opening for this episode?
Yes, but I wrote it.
Rand scripted it, but yes.
I noticed Bill hadn't finished it after we were supposed to start, and I was like, what can I do with this? He's got peasants, I put lords, and then I added the part about the giant bat creature not being fought by Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I've recently read Damian Wayne's backstory featuring Batman being defeated by giant man-bats, so that made perfect sense to me.
Well, Man-Bat's been a regular part of the Batman mythos. Anyway. Yeah. But yeah, if something looked like that and it was under the tower, just lying in repose, that would have made sense to me. It's like, oh God, that's a fucking antediluvian. Jesus Christ. That's where Nosferatu went. Shit!
It escaped.
But, yeah, other than that, I had no problem with it being a giant man-like creature under there because it made sense to me. Just that one model bat just kind of went cheesy.
It's like,
all right.
Here's an effect that didn't quite pan out the way they thought it would.
So, I believe it was Aaron, Matt, Bill, was it?
Was it?
Or
Maybe. Was it? Who just went?
Aaron?
Aaron
No, it was Aaron,
Aaron
Bill.
or Matt?
It was Aaron.
Yeah,
you were asking about before.
Yeah, so it's either you or Matt. I'm actually...
I think I was before Matt.
Yeah, I
okay,
think
so
yeah.
Aaron Bill,
I did
okay,
have
right
issues.
to left.
I did have issues with the one I watched. I don't know what the issue was, but the audio kept it had various technical difficulties. So I'm not quite sure, beyond agreeing with Tim, what I can honestly add. What I can add to it that would be completely objective. I will just say, as a minor thing, kind of piggybacking off of what you said, some of the random cuts to the flapping bat are a bit weird, which I guess they were for mood, but still, like there's a moment where he talked about something about our final plan, and it cuts to the flapping bat, and I'm like, Bruce Wayne's gonna show up? What's the deal there? So that's a minor thing, but due to the issues I had watching it, I don't want to try and read more negatives into it than were actually there. So I won't really say anything stronger than that.
All right, Matt.
I think the one thing that actually kind of ruined the mood once in a while for me was keyboard bats.
Keyboard bat? Oh, they're trying to make the bat sounds with synthesizers?
Yeah, that was particularly silly. That was almost as bad as the one time in Deathstalker 3 where they tried to make an eagle sound and it sounded more like a cat sound, and it was obviously off a keyboard as well.
And the thing is that would have been so easy to go down to the sound vault and find bats screeching.
That should have been like the easiest thing for BBC to put together, and they just flopped.
I wonder if they didn't want it to sound like that.
It should have, though.
Do you think maybe they wanted the bats to sound ethereal, but the best they could do was like little tinkling sounds on a keyboard? Because obviously they're not normal bats, or they're under some kind of control. Maybe they were trying to hint at that mind control. That's why they had that sound effect in there.
I'm pretty sure they were. I'm pretty sure they were lazy, and just did it
lazy and just kept hitting a keyboard sound.
I mean, God,
there's one sound design guy that's in his 70s right now listening to Aaron, and he's like, "Yes, that's exactly right. Someone finally appreciates me." And like, no, I'm pretty sure they were lazy.
The sky.
Yeah, and I'll be like, 4.5 years of art school work.
Because if that's what they were trying to do, they utterly failed at it. Because all I got was, wow, that's an annoying synthesizer sound. That sounds really electronic.
You just killed that 70-year-old man, Fran.
Well, if that killed him, because he's upset about that, then he should have gotten over it by now. He should have watched the episode afterwards and went, damn, that didn't work like I thought it would. That kind of sucks, because it did. I mean, God, if I was them, I would have run down to the sound vault, or at very least I would have pulled the first, 5 seconds of an episode of Scooby-Doo and got the bat screeching from there.
If nothing else, yeah. That would have worked better. You could have tried to find some way to loop that.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a bit annoying to me. So the thing that was my personal annoyance, though, was the overacting of the lords. Tim may have liked it, I didn't. The scene in particular where the queen's going after Adric with her arms raised and that, hello, I'm a monster kind of pose.
Yeah, the end of episode 3, start of 4, yeah.
Yeah. That was so freaking cheesy. It
made it easy to tell who the bad guys of the story were, which is, sometimes it's convenient. But sometimes.
And
just
there was
just that bright Frankenstein look.
And there was another scene where somebody's talking, and then he turns and starts talking to the camera. And I'm like, wow, there goes the fourth wall. I'm like, seriously? It just the I don't know. I have to blame the director for this, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was the director that had them do this because it was so over the top cheesy. Who directed this?
You'll probably pull it up before me because my browser's being slow right now and not letting me click to search.
Because I want to know what else he did.
State of Decay, Doctor Who.
Director was Peter Moffat. Really? Same guy that did The Visitation, Modern Undead, The Five Doctors, Twin Dilemma, and wow, he does not have the greatest record because he also did the Twin Dilemma. He also did the Two Doctors.
Wait, is this the director?
The director of this episode, yes.
Oh, okay.
The Two Doctors, the Twin Dilemma, the Five Doctors, Modern Undead, which we will review later this season, and The Visitation. At his best, he was a mediocre person.
Yeah. Visitation is okay, but it's definitely not that great.
And I have a soft spot for the Five Doctors, but yeah, it cuts me through quick that he made Twin Dilemma. Oh, God. Oh, and Two Doctors. I want to eat my own head.
So maybe the robotic sounding bats were done on purpose then.
By a horrible director. At that point we might not be able to blame the sound guy. It might have been something the director ordered, and it's just like, but it doesn't work. I don't care, use it anyway.
Yeah.
Because 80s synthesizers totally sound like bats.
Well, it was when they made this, it was the early 80s and synthesizers were in because they were new and shiny.
It still didn't make the logical choice when you were making sounds.
Wasn't exactly the logical choice for the Doctor Who theme either, but they did it anyway.
There have been worse versions of the Doctor Who theme, even when they went synthesizer with it. Ever listen to Divshire's second attempt at it? Ooh.
Okay.
Which one was that?
I forget. I think they call it the Rub-a-Dub or something like that.
Oh yeah, we'll hear that theme when we do Trial of a Time Lord, Bill.
Oh.
I thought Trial of a Time Lord was one of the ones on a synthesizer, though.
Yeah. No, but what we're hearing now, the Peter Howell theme, continues through the Sixth Doctor's first season. But for that Trial of a Time Lord season, that theme is replaced by a theme that's referred to as the Rub-a-Dub theme. Why it's called that, I'm not entirely certain, but it's not considered to be one of the greatest Doctor Who themes ever.
Yeah, there was a second Dealer Cyber one, which I can't remember the proper name for, but I remember Rub-a-Dub was one of the bad ones too.
Are you talking about the Australian theme, Matt?
I'm not sure.
The one that was only ever released and accidentally on tapes that went to Australia.
Maybe.
And it has that whole electronica, beeping and whirring computer noises, while the theme sounds like it's being played on a juice harp.
Sounds vaguely familiar. Also, another failed attempt at the theme was Third Doctor, where he actually attempts talk singing over the theme.
That was never actually used officially, though.
That was never used officially, but it has appeared in several places.
I actually don't mind it. I listen to that on occasion.
It's corny, but it's definitely not something I would have actually used for the show. It's a fun corny, though.
That's why they didn't use it for the show.
At least not officially, although I think that I heard that one of the rumors was that a couple of the episodes still ended up with that theme somehow when they went
not
to like
that I'm
tape
aware
or
of.
something.
Not
they went to like tape.
No, only the electronica theme ever did. The one I refer to as the Australian theme was put on a few by accident. And that's because somebody grabbed the wrong opening reel. Because what was happening was, at the time, Delia Derbyshire and the Radiophonic Workshop were trying to find a way to update the theme for the 70s. And they were trying a few different things, and they were using the current Doctor Who opening for a comparison. So they were taking that video and playing the audio over it, and they would make a tape of it and look at it and go, nah, and they would go back to the drawing board. Well, when they had to ship the tapes overseas to Australia, somebody grabbed the wrong opening can and wound up with two episodes. I think one from the Silurians and another one from Carnival of Monsters wound up with that can going to Australia.
Oops.
Which is weird because that theme sounds particularly Australian. It's also possible they were looking at retooling the film for the theme for International.
Possibly.
Because that theme sounds very Australian. It's kind of racist. All right. So scenes that you liked. So starting with Tim.
All right. Tim had his favorite scene. I give you the ultimate weapon, K9. He loves the contrast between the Doctor's enthusiasm and the villagers being underwhelmed.
That was a new K9 model, by the way, that just came out to be used in exactly 2 serials before getting retired.
Yeah, I noticed that he looked a little bit more pristine in some of the close-ups.
Yeah, and they had the lights that were going on the back and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, really? You used it for exactly 2 serials and retired it. What the fuck, guys?
Way to waste your money.
Yeah.
All right. Aaron, favorite scene?
My favorite scene is the Doctor
Something
and Romana.
involving...
Nope, the Doctor and Romana sitting in the throne room discussing how the names have changed over the years.
I was sure it was going to be something about Adric being prone.
Yeah, that came close. Or him backed against the wall as a woman came towards him with fangs trying to suck his blood.
Oh my.
Now you see what I'm talking about. But anyway, I really thought... Make it happen, Matt.
Picture it.
Oh, now you want me to take that clip and make it slow-mo and put porn music on it? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
Wow.
Put a
Wow.
little Barry White. Or,
Is that one of your
Barry Manilow.
Patreon? Is that one of your Patreon goals or allowances?
I'll make a special
Anyway.
$10 one.
I do donate $10 to you.
Yeah, but it
I
goes
owe
from
you.
$5 to $15, though, is the thing. That's what most people usually do.
I hate you, man.
I don't have.
All right,
Alright.
Bill. Your
Anyway, yeah,
favorite
Bill.
scene before this
My
goes
favorite
any
scene,
further.
and this is kind of a simple one, but for some reason it just caught my attention. And it's probably something that happens a lot in the Tom Baker years, but even still, what is the wasting? The wasting.
Oh, yeah.
The wasting is the wasting. Ah.
Do we ever actually get it explained what the wasting is supposed to be?
No.
Not really, per se, but assumably it's to help the people from being killed off by randomness and bad luck and so forth. Essentially, they're trying to protect the people from becoming weaker and more unhealthy, etc. And the
I think-
doctor's commentary back to the vampires was,
thought it
well,
was
they already
that-
are becoming weaker, and
No,
It had
I
something to do with famine.
that too, maybe.
I think it had something to do more with the killer bats myself, but
Yeah.
Maybe.
no, they never did properly explain that.
No,
They do
not at
that a
all.
lot. There's the wasting, there's the arising, there's I thought there was another one in there.
Okay, so Matt, your favorite scene.
Favorite scene. I want to go with. I think the one of the better ones was the doctor starting to put together all the information about the vampires. Yes, it's a little strange that everything is on ticket cards, but it also kind of makes sense because you wouldn't want just any peasant, know-nothing Time Lord being able to look up this information. You want someone who is at least as smart as the doctor and K9 to have it when
Yes.
they need it.
But they were machine punch cards.
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, you could have fed those into a 70s computer on Earth and gotten the data. You would have thought the TARDIS would have been a little more futuristic by that.
Well, the thing is, you want it to be futuristic, but you don't also want it to be so complicated that you can't actually find it when you need it. Which was the point of making it a separate thing from the actual core to begin with.
Oh,
The Death Star's plans were kept on cassette tapes.
It hid throughout the galaxy.
I'm just saying, at this point, storage systems have never been sci-fi's strong suit.
But I like the basic premise of it. I like the and
that,
I also like the way Tom was reading it too. He put a lot of emphasis in.
Oh yes,
punch into it.
that he did. It just machine punch cards just kind of just made my brain twitch. And ticker tape.
Nah. The ticker tape, I think, is something he kept using until the early 80s, or well into the early 80s, until like about the mid 80s as well. Once in a while. I think until like the 6th or 7th Doctor, they kept using it once in a while.
But okay, so my favorite scene was another Tom Baker and Romana scene. Was the when I was a child, there was a hermit who lived on a mountain in outer Gallifrey.
He used to tell me ghost stories.
Because that is an actual shout out to the character Choji Campo from Planet of the Spiders.
Yes, and they call back to the hermit character that he was supposedly representative of.
Yeah, it was a wonderful shout out, and the whole scene just seemed to work very well for me.
Mm-hmm. It's nice that the Doctor that brings out little tidbits like that once in a while again.
Mm-hmm. Scenes that you don't like.
And of course, this was written by Terrence Dix, who, not sure if he wrote the episode in question, but he was definitely either a frequent writer or script editor. He was heavily involved in the story around that time anyway.
He was
and of course, he novelized
Doctor Who, that it was
half
a
of
regeneration
Doctor Who.
story, so he had to have known what was going on.
Yeah.
Let's see. What did he write for? He did write Planet of the Spiders.
Ah, Excellent. So it was his chance
Or
to throw another
at the very least, he wrote the novelization for it. He did not write the actual episode, just the novelization.
Still, he was aware of it either way. So you were saying worst, so it would be Bill with Tim's worst scene?
Yes.
Yep. Says his least favorite scene is when Adric said he would rather be with the diners than part of the meal. It did not exactly inure him to him. And yeah, that scene is largely what I kind of see Adric through here, when he claims he was acting, but he seemed to be acting that way when there was no vampire around, so I don't know.
Yeah, he was putting on the acting
He seems pretty
hard.
pissed at not being a vampire.
Yeah, he was putting on the... If he was actually acting and not actually under mind control still, he was putting on the acting pretty hard at that point.
All right, Aaron, your least favorite scene.
Oh, I don't like the scene with the three lords posing back to back.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay, are we with Sentai vampires now? And like the Archon is like moving. I think he moves around them and everything. It's like I'm watching
between them,
dance.
and then he's back to their shoulders in
Yeah,
front of the
I know,
camera.
and it's just like,
It's
what
the
am I
surgical
watching here? Is this a dance show?
Not the
I
liturgical
thought that
dance.
was kind of
yeah.
silly.
Yeah, it was essentially just making the vampires look really silly and awkward for the camera. Just
I was trying to remember
hamming
if the planet had a name, because that could have been their audition for that Planet's Got Talent, but
Nope, it was just a small planet on the edge of the scanner zone.
That planet doesn't have talent.
E-Space got talent.
Oh god, now you remind me of that episode of Rick and Morty.
Show me what you've got!
Show me what you've got! The giant heads. It's a giant head!
And Matt's completely clueless, because I think that was from season 2.
I was
Yep.
gonna say, I'm pretty sure this is season 2. The only reference I get from season 2 is the one about the tiny planet. Hey,
Okay.
Rick, where's the van? It's over on the parking in the driveway on the other side of the horizon.
Yeah, let's get this done with so I can go back to playing Pocket Mortys.
Yeah, don't you have work tomorrow?
Yes, I do, so...
So you have to go to bed almost right away after.
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, your least favorite scene.
Well, this is slightly tongue-in-cheek, but basically because I've gotten tired of this trend. And that's the scene where the doctor says, "I've never seen such a state of decay." Because at this point, every episode we've watched in like the past month has had a name drop. And that's not a thing Doctor Who normally does.
Actually,
And-
one of the early titles for this episode was The Wasting.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I don't know if that would have been, that might have been better just because that at least is a thing. Whereas
Yeah,
here there's a lot of, I've kind of felt the same way when they were like, things have gone full circle, and you kind of expect a doctor to look at the camera and like take off some glasses or some, if he has some on, and you're just like, enough with the name drops.
It's yeah, it was originally.
You expect you expect someone to jump up and be like, there it is, that's the title. That's the title.
Ask me what it means. Ask me what it means.
Yeah, it was originally titled The Wasting and the Witch Lords.
Witch Lords definitely wouldn't have worked because there's no witches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
They could have just called it Doctor. They could have just called it Doctor Who and the Vampires, really.
Also, something else to note is that Terrence Dix published a novelization of it, as they usually did. But he published 2 different novelizations. So one was for Target Books with different text from another one that he did for Pickwick.
Huh.
Was one of them a children's version and one of them more adult, or?
I don't know. One of them was for Pickwick.
Actually, the Pickwick is a talking book version.
Gotcha.
As read by Tom Baker.
Yeah.
Ah.
Apparently, because it was read and they were probably trying to get it at a certain time marker, they either extended or edited what was said.
Probably.
And when they novelized this, it was still back when they were doing the novelizations as Doctor Who and the title of the episode. I believe Full Circle actually got Doctor Who Full Circle instead of Doctor Who and the... Okay, so who's... I think it was you, Matt, was the next...
It's my turn, and here's going to be a bombshell. My worst scene is Tim's favorite. The Doctor's answer to helping everyone out and getting things in gear is to give everyone K9, who would have been extremely useful, and instead, the minute K9 walks out, they make a wah wah song. And these people who are already really into technology, seeing some technology actually come out and move, are completely unfazed, and as a matter of fact, they're depressed by it. What the heck?
Yeah, Rand and I saw on the Full Circle extras, they had a video on there. I can't remember if it was Terrence Dix or someone else was complaining about how much they hated
Bidmead. It was Christopher Bidmead.
Oh, yeah. He was just complaining about, he was looking for a way to keep K9 out of all of the stories because he felt that it was a Mary Sue that, was used to, fix problems right away, and that it was kind of useless. The robot would, malfunction across rocky ground and stuff.
Well, they had none of those problems in this, and instead they just completely abandoned poor K9, even though we have proved that he could be actually good and useful and not a Mary Sue multiple times in previous seasons.
I know, and it's just like it seems to come from people who hate K9 seem to hate him because they don't know how to write for that character.
Pretty much.
Whereas it's been successfully written for like years before this, and all of a sudden it's become a problem now.
Well, another thing was the fact that with the arrival of John Nathan Turner, they were aiming to make Doctor Who a more serious science fiction show. And they were of the opinion that K9 was a children's toy.
They were of the opinion that the super smart death robot was too childish.
Yes. Because it looked like a little tin doggy.
Oh, J&T can go get bent. All right, too late.
It was J&T and Bidmead that really hated K9. He was kind of a polarizing character at the time. Now most people look back on him fondly, but
Yeah.
And most people of our generation looked at K9 fondly during the time too. So
when he came back in school reunion, everyone was like, "Yee, K9, yee!"
And we've been sorrowful ever since because he really hasn't been back that much.
He showed up a bit in Sarah Jane Adventures.
Just
there was a
there.
Yeah, well, there was a problem there because of the K9 series that was being made on who had the rights.
It took forever, and I think it was an Australian group that made that show, right?
It was Australian-Canadian co-production.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, though, the K9, the rights to K9 is actually owned by the guys who wrote the episode The Invisible Enemy. And so while they have it licensed to Doctor Who, it's kind of a Dalek situation where it's owned by Terry Nation. K9 is owned by Something and Bob Baker, And they decided, since K9 wasn't getting enough screen time, they were going to go make this K9 TV series, which pays lip service to Doctor Who, by not distinctly crossing its continuity, was basically making its own thing. And the BBC's like, okay, we were going to include K9 in this. We better minimize his appearances just to make sure that they don't decide to sue us, because they have the rights. But Pip and Jane Baker were just like, no, that's cool. And eventually they got around to being able to use him more in later seasons of Sarah Jane Adventures. No, that's cool, because this is K9 Mark 1 now being turned to K9 Mark A, saying you guys are using K9 Mark 4, so that's cool. We got it.
Yar.
It was just a bit of legal toe avoiding. I would love to see K9 return to Doctor Who. I honestly would.
Oh, yeah. Especially since they have the technology to make it actually work.
I would have liked to see him on Sarah Jane Adventures.
Well, like I said, he did show up in later seasons more often.
Yeah.
But I want my Mark V now.
Or Leela could show up asking, looking for her Mark 1 and wondering what dastardly person stole him.
So my least favorite scene was any scene with Aucon.
Oh, the chairman? Or
the Chancellor.
Yeah.
Because he was just so out there. He reminded me a bit of John Colicos, I think it was. If you don't know who that is, the original Battlestar Galactica, he played Baltar.
Okay, that was the traitor guy, right? I
think?
Yeah.
Yeah, he also played the Klingon Core in Star Trek, the original series, and later in Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
The constantly drunk one. He had that same level of cheese. And I don't know.
Having this, so you will pay attention. Come, Adric.
Yeah, it's just he just kind of he'd actually have made a good master, but because especially if they're going for camp masters at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, his whole appearance was just so sideways from what everyone else was doing. It just kind of irritated me in this. You got the opinion that Zargo and Camilla were like, oh, it's Aucon again. Oh, crap.
Mm-hmm. Kinda. They also were a bit envious because apparently he was slightly stronger than them.
Yeah. It's like, yes, you are one of the chosen. Oh, fuck you, Aucon. Go fuck yourself. Okay.
I need more eyeliner.
Oh, God, the eyeliner. Anyway, so let's go on to final thoughts. You've got Tim's.
Yep. Tim's final thoughts are that this was a great episode that perfectly blended the creepiness with the silliness.
Is that it?
Yep.
All right. Aaron?
I actually kind of like this one, especially after I believe this is about the third time I've seen it too. Is when I watched it with you, Ran. Yeah, I like the atmosphere. I like the idea of bringing a horror story into things, a kind of more classic horror monster. But still, it was a little bit more fun than when I first watched it.
All right, Bill.
Definitely enjoyed that it was, I definitely enjoyed the tone. I mean, this is toward the end of the horror adaptation era, and with what I think it was Aaron was mentioning about the Dracula adaptation, that kind of makes sense. But it's always nice to see one of those episodes where it's essentially a horror movie that the Doctor dropped in on. Adric being a little asshole that wants to turn into a vampire is kind of annoying. Other than that, I would say I enjoyed the episode. Wish I had a better copy, and I'll definitely be looking to get a hold of a new one.
Bill?
Something.
Bill, what asshole teenager doesn't want to be a vampire?
I never did.
I want to be a werewolf.
None of the vampires sparkle, thankfully.
Yeah. Oh my god, Adric is a sparkly vampire. Yep.
That was actually a parody I was actually thinking of that could have been done in this. All right, Matt, your final thoughts?
Definitely appreciated the mood. I liked the almost Hammer-esque style that they went about some of the things in this particular story. I liked Tom Tom, as well as some of the other casts, really played off the horror, as well as they also played off some of the tongue-in-cheek once in a while. And I also liked the fact that they had to be on their toes to try and figure out a way to really end this, because they realized the usual stuff wouldn't end the vampires normally. They had to go with something bigger. And I like the fact that they literally had the Chekhov's gun since like the first time we see the area. And it's just like, oh, clever, yes, excellent. But yeah, a very enjoyable sit through. I do recall liking this quite a bit the first time as well.
All right. I feel like I'm going to be the dissenter of the group this week, because I didn't like this episode as much as I liked the last one. Mostly because I thought it seemed to be horribly overacted. And the actual script seemed okay, but the acting just bothered me, and the makeup bothered me, and in the case of the big vampire puppet, the special effects bothered me. It was just one of those things where there was one or two good things and a lot of things that just annoyed me and built up to bother me. I've always thought this was the weakest of the E-Space trilogy. That still holds true in my opinion.
So the Batman puppet of this episode equals the spider of the previous episode.
Yes, I actually like yeah. We can go with that.
The puppets this season just don't work.
All right, so ratings. Give us
Tim
tips.
gives it a 4.5.
All right, Aaron.
I actually quite like this one, so I'm going to go ahead with the settings and everything, and the costuming and the story. Good enough, I think, for a 4.0.
4 flat. Bill?
I think I'm going to agree with the 4.5.
4.5. Matt?
I'm actually going to agree with Aaron with a 4.0.
And I'm going to have to give it a 3.5, as I did not like that as much as the rest of you.
Wow.
But Adric in a poofy shirt.
So I think
Does
that
absolutely
us out
nothing.
to what, like a 4.1?
A 4.1 is exactly the average. And a 4.1 will put us 4.1, 4.0 from the core will put us at... All right. Really wish I could do this faster. Gives this a higher rating than Full Circle.
Oh.
Which annoys the crap out of me.
Oops.
Puts us at number 55 out of 154 currently reviewed. It is on par with Death to the Daleks and Under the Lake Before the Flood. It is better than The Girl Who Died, The Brink of Death, Castrovalva, Destiny of the Doctor, Hunters of Earth, Light at the End, Planet of the Spiders, and Rose. And just below, Legopolis, The War Games, Destiny of the Doctor, Shockwave, Bad Wolf, Parting the Ways, The Mind Robber, The End of the Line, Power of Krull, Hellbent, Frontier in Space, Destiny of the Daleks, Last Christmas. So that's some good company it's in.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would argue it's slightly better than Rose, just slightly.
And it's a good 0.5 above Full Circle, which is number 87 on the list.
Who was the low one on that one? Was that Tim?
Full Circle, Bill.
Bill, you were the low one last time.
Bill gave Full Circle a 3 flat. Aaron and Tim gave it a 3.5, and we gave it 4s.
Arr. Oh, well.
So that will kind of close it up for State of Decay. If you'd like to take us out, Bill.
Okay. If you enjoy listening to us, please go ahead and like the video. And you can subscribe to us on YouTube, Twitch, and Mixcloud. You can follow, like, and all that stuff for news and updates on Facebook and Twitter. One day I'll get those two right. And if you want to support us, you can head on over to patreon.com/Unearthly Podcast and do that there.
Give us money! My jeans
All right.
is empty!
All right, so on next week's show, the Doctor, Romana, and K9 find a way out of E-space, or do they? They find themselves in a white void that might lead out or might lead to their doom. It's Warrior's Gate. And that'll be the conclusion of the E-space trilogy.
And the conclusion of the John Carpenter opening trilogy. I don't know why I picked that theme. It just kind of stuck.
Okay.
Well, the first episode, Full Circle, was The Fog, which there's plenty of fog to use. This one was John Carpenter's Vampires. I think the next one's going to be Prince of Darkness, but I'm unsure yet. But we'll see when we get there. Anyway,
Yeah.
Good night.
Wouldn't be